Hey guys, thought I'd just do a quick video on piloting with the mouse control, as some new people to the game seem to have issues with it. As you can see in my mouse options, it's automatically defaulted to have the mouse widget on, which shows you what the mouse is doing, which is probably what that little yellow indicator was on the center of my display. Now, as it shows, that's exactly what it's doing. And you can see the further across that arrow is, or up or down, and that's what your ship's going to be doing. As soon as you set it to center, it stops. So you don't need to move it very far, and it already starts rolling. Now, if we turn that widget off, it would probably make control a little bit harder. So now I can't see that control, so I'm guessing. And see, I'm not 100% sure where the middle is, so I'm constantly moving. But if I did like a full roll, and I want to stop, I'm now not stopping. After messing around a little bit, I can make it stop. For someone who is not as good with a mouse or doesn't have a very precise mouse, that can get very annoying very quickly. So it's probably best to keep that mouse widget on. At the same time, we can also set it to relative mouse axis, which apparently auto centers. So if I let it go, no, that's not going to auto center if I'm turning, but what if I'm, oh yes, I see that. Okay, so what that does is it means I have to keep dragging my mouse up or down. In order to keep going, pitching up or pitching down. That could get annoying if you wanted to turn very quickly because you're constantly dragging the mouse up. Personally, I wouldn't like to do that. That's annoying. That would annoy me. So I turn that off. Now, showing that, it then means it goes to full very quickly, but it's not too hard. And if I let go of the mouse like I am, it'll keep rotating at full power. I can't rotate any harder than that because that's as good as the ship can do. That's just what it does. And even if we throttle up, it's not going to make much difference. I can still bring it back to 0 very quickly. It actually turns faster if you're moving. And we just bring it back to 0 and that's what she does. Beautiful. Now, if you still find it a bit of an issue, there is a mouse reset button. So, we'll go and set that. I'm going to set it to R. Yeah, why not? I'll just change it to R for now. Doesn't really matter. Because I'm not using the other thrust controls. Alright. So, if it's doing that, I hit R, it will automatically reset. Oh no, I'm spinning out of control. Press R, auto reset. Perfect. Comes back to center, stops spinning every single time. Not an issue. R, reset. R, reset. You won't keep spinning as long as you're not going to even throttle up. Ah, reset. Beautiful. I can coast like this forever without an issue. Also, we can set other things, like dead zone and sensitivity. So at the moment, the sensitivity is set relatively low. Oh, you can also set how quickly it centers in relative mode. That's interesting. And you've also got your dead zone, which adjusts the center of your dead zone. At the moment, it's fairly low. Let's see what happens if we crank that right up. I see. See there, it shows that even though the arrow is still visible, the dead zone has made it so that even at that point, we're not moving yet. We have to go to there before it starts to move. And that is the same for every direction. So you'd have to, you've got a really big area where it returns to 0. You don't have to be perfectly 0. So if we lower the dead zone to bugger all, that would be the slightest movement and she starts spinning. See, you don't even register and it starts to spin. I can't stop it. Look, I'm being fairly precise. And there's still even the tiniest bit of movement. See, look, I've even got creep. I'm slowly creeping up. That, even for me, would be annoying. It's very, very hard to get to center with almost no dead zone. So you want some dead zone. For someone who has trouble with that kind of control, you'd probably want to set the dead zone fairly high. For me, about there is good. Okay, so we'll apply that. And we'll have a look at what happens if we play with the sensitivity. I'll crank the sensitivity right up. That would mean that the mouse is very, very sensitive even with a dead zone. So the tiniest movement and it goes crazy. Yeah. So a high sensitivity is no good for someone who has imprecise movements, even though the dead zone's decent. The sensitivity is too high. Even with the dead zone, I can't stop it very well. I'm still getting creep. It's the same as if I had no dead zone. So a sensitivity about there would be much better. Oh, look at that. Beautiful, no creep. Even like that, I might need to actually increase that dead zone. It's still getting a small amount of creep from that. Oh, that's much better. That is so much better. But that little widget, the little yellow arrow, is basically what your ship's going to be doing. So we're tilting and rotating at the same time when it's like that. We're going vertical only if I do that. We're going horizontal only. Rolling only if I do that. Pitch up, pitch down. Roll left, roll right. Pretty self-explanatory, and if it's sitting in the center, it stops. That's how you should set your settings. If you really want it to be flat out desensitized, and you're really struggling with your mouse, and it's constantly rolling, making you feel dizzy, doing some crazy stuff, then I would reduce your sensitivity to bugger all, increase your dead zone, like you can put it all the way up if you like, but low sensitivity, high dead zone, widget on, reset button. And that way, with a low sensitivity, look at that, I have to move the mouse a very long way before it even starts turning. And returning to center does very easily. Personally for me, the sensitivity is far too low. But for someone who struggles with their mouse control, who may not have a very good reaction time, this setting would be great. It means you can sit back, get your mouse to where you want it to be, and do your thing. However, you probably wouldn't be very good at a dogfight, but you don't have to be shooting other ships in this game to enjoy the game. There's a hell ton more aspects you can do. Like a hell ton. Anyway, that seems pretty self-explanatory. Let's see if I can't dock with the station using this control. I'm not used to using a mouse. Ah, that's how you do it. Whoops. Tab is boost. I'm 3Ks from that, so how do I... Oh, E and Q. Yep, okay. Right, so one.
Docking request granted.
Auto docking. It's a beautiful thing. I recommend auto docking for those who aren't as good at controlling your ship, because manual docking requires a little bit of precision. In a tiny little ship like this one, a Sidewinder, your starting ship, docking's a cinch. But when you get up to the big boys, yeah, docking can get a little bit more tricky. In this case, we're on a outdoor station, so there's no flying through the mailbox and finding a landing pad. The landing pads are on the outside, so it's fly up to it and land. Just like that.
Engines disengaged.
All good. Okay guys, I hope you found that informative, and let me know if you need any more assistance.